Many years ago, there were a lot of young people taking lessons. There were school bands, but there were no school orchestras. So these kids who studied strings didn't have any groups to play in. And I thought that they should. And at the same time that I had this thinking, Lee Hepner, conductor of the Hamilton Philharmonic Orchestra, was thinking he wanted to have a group to feed people into that community orchestra that he led. So there was my opportunity to work with the Philharmonic, and we got together, and we now have an orchestra.
It's insane. 50 years, that's crazy, but you know, I'm kind of thrilled to be able to say that I was a part of it.
It's hard to believe, isn't it? Because I think I was in it in the first decade that it existed, and so it's very difficult to imagine that the HPYO is now 50 years old, but it's also really exciting to realize that.
It fills your heart up to look at what this person created, and I can't express my gratitude to him. 40 years, holy smokes. What a vision and what an execution.
The HPYO makes music, and music is emotional, intellectual, physical, social, spiritual. And if you think for a moment, every human being is all of that, nothing less and nothing more. So the most natural thing is for human beings to be involved in music. And that's why it worked 50 years ago, and why it has worked through all of these years, and why it still works today.
I like the community that HPYO provides. I mean, there are so many different people here, but everyone is really supportive of each other, and having that sort of community doesn't happen anywhere, so it's kind of special.
Through Colin and the 50th anniversary, they've given me the opportunity to write for the concert, and as a young composer, to have the opportunity to write for a full orchestra is something that isn't always available, and it's really great to be able to have that experience.
Being in the orchestra, you learn tons of stuff. You get to play wicked amounts of repertoire, you know, everything from classical to show tunes to everything. So it's definitely a chance that you can't pass up.
The youth orchestra made a massive impact on me. It shaped my entire life, and it shaped my entire career.
The music was a thrill, the orchestra was a thrill, because an orchestra is a miracle.
It's such an important offering to young people. Hamilton has to have something like this, and it just won't have it unless it has support financially and through people's time.
The orchestra is healthy because of eager young people, dedicated volunteers, and a consuming passion.
I would encourage people to be involved with the HPYO, and I would encourage the community of Hamilton to be involved with the HPYO.
We really rely on our sponsors and, you know, just anywhere we can get the funds from to keep this kind of culture alive, because it's really important for us as adults, but especially for our kids, because they're the next generation coming up.
It's been amazing being in HPYO, and I know that we couldn't really run an arts organization without all that support.
We're a team, and like any team, everybody is important. We just have different jobs to do. If it were not for the supporters, if it were not for the volunteers, if it were not for all of these people, it wouldn't happen. So, in a word, what I say to the supporters of the orchestra, thanks for sharing my dream.
Thank you.